What's going on, my Jets family? I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Excited to talk to you guys about them Jets. So, as you've seen in training camp, and if you haven't, one of the biggest stories has been Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore has been looking really good. All the beat writers have been talking about how good Elijah Moore has been looking. And they talked about that last year, right? They said how he looked really good as a rookie. The same way they're talking about Garrett Wilson, right? That he seems to have a good grasp of the offense. He seems to, have a good, understanding and coming along. But it's different for Elijah. Elijah's going into his second year. And I've said it that I think this is going to be a breakout season for Elijah Moore. And I definitely think it will be. And I know a lot of Jet fans agree. And I'm excited, man. So as we see in camp, like I was just saying, Elijah Moore has been a big story. There's been other big stories too. We've talked about Breece Hall and how awesome he's looked and how everyone keeps saying when you see him, he looks special. He looks different. But man, Elijah Moore has made a lot of great catches, a lot of great deep balls, a lot of great catches in general. He looks really good. So to talk about Elijah Moore for a minute, as you guys remember, when we first drafted him, loved the draft pick, loved that we took him. The numbers he put up in college were crazy. He was one of the best slot receivers. But that's how I looked at it, a slot receiver. He's 5'8". I didn't know how good he'd be on the outside. If you guys remember, I questioned that. We've talked about that a few times. I wasn't sure if he could be a true wide receiver one. He was going to be more of a slot guy. Well, as I pointed out, he proved me wrong, right? Last year, again, rookie season, struggled a little bit toward the beginning of the year, took a little time to come on. Even was banged up a little bit because, like we've talked about, at the NFL level, it's a whole different game, right? Totally different animal. A lot of players do get banged up in their rookie year. Hopefully it's nothing substantial, but a lot of players do. So, beside that, man, when he played, he looked really good. Like we said, in the beginning of the season, he, took him a while to come on, which is normal. But as the season went on, man, he looked dynamo. In fact, and you guys remember, this was a big stat that I pointed out with Elijah Moore, which I thought was just amazing. He was targeted 77 times in his rookie season, and he only had one drop. He only dropped the ball once. That was a drop percentage of 1.3%. That was 7th among all wide receivers last year and 2nd among rookie wide receivers. So as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't 100% if he could be an outside guy, if he could be, like the Jets said, be an outside wide receiver. I was wrong, right? He showed us last year he can line up against anybody, right? Last year, if you watched him play, he was going up against some of the best corners in the league, and he was going back and forth. He was making some catches. Sometimes they get the best of him. He'd go over the top. He was very physical. It was back and forth. It was tit for tat. He was showing, I can be this guy. I can line up on the outside. I can play with some of the best corners in the league. So, man, we saw that game where he had over 100-something yards with Flacco, totally freaking broke out, which was awesome. Excuse me. But it's going to be, but back with Elijah Moore, man, again, he's having a great training camp. He's looking really, really good. I'm excited. I've been saying I think this is going to be a breakout season for him. And again, we saw what he did in his rookie year. He was really good when he was on the field. Again, only one drop out of the 77 targets that came his way. And as I pointed out, I was wrong. This kid can totally line up on the outside. He can totally be a wide receiver one. Now, I'm not saying Garrett Wilson won't be. And like I've even talked about just the other day on Monday with Buffalo Jet fan, you can have more than one wide receiver one. That's allowed. There's no rule against that. Garrett Wilson could become amazing, and Elijah Moore could become amazing. In fact, I've said the two of them could become one of the best wide receiver duos, potentially in the NFL for a while, and that would be awesome. That'd be really, really cool. But man, Elijah Moore can be a wide receiver one, proved he can line up on the outside, showed he can do it, that he can be really, really great, and he's looking great in camp. So he's shining so far, he's looking good. It's going to be really good to see, when the preseason starts, to see what he starts putting out on the field. But man, this is a breakout season for Elijah Moore. Again, going into his second year, understanding the system better, understanding the league better. He's ready. He's ready to go. Again, had a good rookie year, and I'm ready. It's going to be a breakout season for Elijah Moore, man. Let's go.